Lindsay, to be on an Olympic team?
Every bit of your senses are heightened. To this day, I can't even explain what it feels like. But let's go ahead and this is not about me. This is about the men's single final, as we're already there, looking at lane 1 with Lucas Bellows as he's getting ready to prepare for his final in the men's single. Now remember, the men's single is not yet qualified, so whomever wins this will have to go to the final Olympic qualification regatta in Lucerne, Switzerland in May and come in top 2 to actually earn the nomination rights there. In lane 2, we have Lenny Futterman representing Malta Boat Club. Again, trying to relax here as we're sitting.
It's actually Kevin Mader there, who's in lane 2 with these just slight lane shifts. So that was a picture of Kevin Mader. He's actually the gentleman who has represented the United States in this boat class at the last couple World Championships. That is Lenny Futterman. He is in lane 3, representing Malta Boat Club. And then on what's going to be the far right of the screen, lane 4 of our race course, is John Graves, the other semifinal winner, representing the Craftsbury Green Racing Project. And you see there John taking his first couple of strokes. This is the men's single, as Lindsay was remarking. The men's single is not yet qualified for the United States at the 2020 Tokyo Olympics. So the winner of this race this morning, the champion of these 2,000 meters here at Nathan Benderson Park, will have to go to Lucerne in May and earn their spot on the Olympic team by qualifying the boat class for the United States. Beautiful picture here this morning of this start. And you can see a great quick start in lane 4 from John Graves on the far right side of your screen. Also a great start from his teammate, Lucas Bellows, in lane 1 on the far left. But we'll see as the athletes sort of start to slow into, and we talk about slow, the boat speed doesn't really slow down. They go from a dead stop to as fast as they can push the boat. But when they start to settle down in terms of their striking rate, we will see how the boats start to maneuver down the race course. It's still John Graves with quite a considerable lead here. So he's decided early, has John Graves, that he wants to take the lead and he wants to play defense all the way down the race course.
Yeah, and getting out in that front position, being there on that inside lane, he's able to keep an eye on what's going on around him. He's definitely focusing on what he's doing, paying attention to his race plan. It's still so early in the race at this point. It's almost like killing time, to be honest. How efficient can I be early on? Get a little free speed from that quick, the rush of adrenaline that you get by sitting at the start line, and then keep your cool. Take that breath and lengthen out. But as you can see, as we crossed that first 500, he already has a hair of clear water over that far inside lane of Lucas Bellows. And as we spoke about yesterday, these two guys have seen each other in practice day in and day out. So it's quite possible that they know exactly what each other's habits are. They know when, who does what. They might even have very similar race plans, potentially working under the same coaches. But here we are, even though John Graves is there out in front in that yellow boat, it's still a very tight race among all 4 competitors here, knowing that the next step before the next step. If someone has an Olympic dream here, they have to take care of this first before they can think about anything else. So one stroke at a time all the way down the race course. Hopefully these young men are having the races of their lives right now.
And that is very interesting, Lindsay, in that these athletes really have to peak 3 times. They have to peak here to win. They have to peak at the second chance qualifier or last chance qualifier regatta, and then they try to peak at the Olympics. So it's a grueling training cycle for these athletes, but this is it. This is, for many of them, the biggest race they have ever been in their lives, is to be able to wear that United States rowing Olympic unisuit at that regatta in Lucerne. It still continues to be John Graves out in front, but we're talking about race plans. We saw some interesting race plans from both Lenny Futterman and Kevin Mader in the semifinals. Kevin Mader really did not, he rode a very patient race, and he did not put on his full steam until the last 500 meters. And also Lenny Futterman took up his stroke rating quite early, maybe at around 12:50, and that got him pushed out into the lead, and then he held on to win his semifinal. But currently, by a 4-second margin. Beautiful picture of John Graves out in front.
And with Kevin Mader, he is the one who did represent the United States here in 2019 in this event, placing 21st. But it was John Graves, if we go back to the idea of those gold medal time standards coming through the semis yesterday, it came out with the fastest percentage-wise in terms of speed. So for anyone that follows those types of pieces of information, it might not be surprising to you that he's out in front right now. But as we get into this second half of the race, this is that reset button where, okay, you've taken care of the front end of the race. Now we need to dig in and find a little bit more and keep pushing, because you cannot take a single stroke for granted.
John Graves from Cincinnati, Ohio, and Trinity College in Hartford, Connecticut. He's been on 8 national teams, a long history of rowing at the international level, with his best finish an 8th place finish at the 2014 World Rowing Championships in the men's quad. On the picture, I believe you see one of his older brothers running alongside him all the way down the race course here, going with his brother. And he gets to play defense, and he's in this lane where he only has to look one way to see the rest of his competitors all the way down the race course. So it is as comfortable as it could be right now for John Graves. You still see second place is his teammate Lucas Bellows all the way across the race course in lane 1. It is in third place Kevin Mader in lane 2. And just behind Kevin Mader, very close, probably a 3 or 4 foot distance, is Lenny Futterman in lane 3. So what's going to happen here as they come through 500 meters to go in the men's single at the 2020 US Olympic team trials for rowing? It's John Graves out in front by about 5 seconds. What are we going to see here in the last 400 meters?
And in the last 400 meters, with those two middle lanes being so tight between Mader and Futterman the whole time, they've stayed connected with one another, which will then push against Bellows, which will then push him up against Graves. As we know, coming down to the line, what's on the line here, it is time to find another gear, because when it comes to qualifying for the Olympic Games, let alone qualifying for your chance to qualify for the Olympic Games, you have to be faster every single stroke, every single day, finding a little bit more than you did the day before, because that's what it's going to take to really ultimately qualify as we come through. Still sitting out in front with the last 25, 30 or so strokes left in this race. It is Graves who has taken it up, wants to find a hair more speed, bringing up his rate just a hair. And can Lucas Bellows push back into it and drag the other two competitors along with him?
Everybody is going now. The stroke rates are very high. They are starting to track down John Graves just a little bit. Lucas Bellows still sitting in second place. Kevin Mader putting on his big push. So is Lenny Futterman. It's going to come all the way down to the line here, but it does look like John Graves with that quick start, 10 strokes from the line here to win the men's single at the 2020 Olympic trials for rowing, and it is going to be John Graves hanging on at the finish. His teammate Lucas Bellows in lane 1 is going to finish about a length of open water behind John Graves for second place. Then it's Kevin Mader and Lenny Futterman. All 3 of those boats, second, third, and fourth place, connected through the finish line here at Nathan Benderson Park. As you can see, the emotions coming out of that yellow boat, and John Graves knowing that he did what he needed to do. He just won the men's single.
And now what does he need to do? He needs to take a little cool down paddle and get ready for the next strokes. Prepare for the next thing, which is get ready to train again, because he has more big races coming his way.
So John Graves will wear the red, white, and blue